It's your turn to visit the Cherokee Nation and explore 66,000 acres of lush Oklahoma countryside, scenic rivers and lakes, and engaging cultural attractions, like the John Ross Museum and Cemetery in Park Hill. The museum is set in a former rural schoolhouse built in 1913 and highlights the life and legacy of the influential Cherokee chief John Ross. Ross was principal chief of the Cherokee Nation for nearly 40 years during one of the most tumultuous and impactful times in its history. Born in 1790, Ross was a native of the old Cherokee Nation in what is now Georgia. He rose to prominence at a young age, and by 1827, Ross had served his nation as a delegate to Washington, D.C., as a veteran of the Battle of Horseshoe Bend, and as president of the Cherokee National Committee. In 1828, John Ross was elected principal chief of the Cherokee Nation for the first of many terms. Ross fought tirelessly against President Andrew Jackson's Indian removal policy, determined to protect the Cherokee homelands. Ultimately, Ross was unsuccessful in preventing the devastation that was the Trail of Tears. So he led the Cherokees to the new Indian Territory, where they would rebuild their government with Chief Ross at the helm. Ross and his family settled in Park Hill, Indian Territory, near present-day Tahlequah, Oklahoma. After a lifetime of working to preserve the sovereignty of the Cherokee Nation, Chief John Ross died in Washington, D.C. in 1866, campaigning for his people and his nation until the very end. He is buried in the Ross Cemetery in Park Hill, situated just behind the John Ross Museum. The cemetery is on the National Register of Historic Places and is the burial grounds for many in the Ross family, important Cherokee delegates, and survivors of the Trail of Tears. In addition to highlighting the life and legacy of Chief John Ross, the museum houses exhibits and interactive displays on the Trail of Tears, Civil War, Cherokee Golden Age, and Cherokee Nation's passion for the education of its people. The museum also has a gift shop and research area. To plan your visit to the museum, go to visitcherokenation.com.